Let's have a look behind some of the biggest business headlines this week. Joining me now, Ryan Mack is the president of Optimum Capital Management. Lee Gallagher is senior editor at Fortune. Federal Reserve Chairman Ben Bernanke faced the firing squad at his confirmation hearing on Thursday, fielding tough questions from members of the Senate Banking Committee, which decides whether he gets another four-year term. Now, many Democrats said they would vote for Bernanke, but some Republicans questioned whether they could support him. Vermont Independent Senator Bernard Sanders issued a statement Wednesday night that he had put a hold on Bernanke's confirmation. That's a technical move that allows a single senator to delay Senate confirmation of Bernanke. I'll take a listen to what he had to say on Thursday.
In my view, if an institution is too big to fail, it is too big to exist. We've got to start breaking them up, not allow them to get even larger. The Fed has chosen not to do that. Mr. President, we need transparency at the Fed.
All right, Lee, first of all, is Bernanke going to get confirmed?
He will get confirmed, yes. It would take an awful lot for him not to at this point. And I think a lot of this ire is directed at the Fed. It's not Bernanke. He's been very accessible behind the scenes. People like him in general, but there is this kind of populist rage that we're seeing against everyone who was involved in the bailouts. And I think that's what we're seeing here. I mean, you know, what you forget about is that everybody missed the warning signs, the Fed included. They let the institutions take too much risk. What Bernanke is lobbying for now is a very mechanism to do what Bernie Sanders just said that he didn't do, which is to make sure there's an institution or a mechanism so that the banks can be, some bank who is too big to fail can be unwound. So there's a procedure, which there wasn't.
I suppose it's not a bad thing that when he comes for confirmation, all of this is coming out. I mean, we want our legislators to be holding Ben Bernanke's feet to the fire, or anyone else that they're appointing.
We have to. We absolutely have to. You know what? I don't envy Ben Bernanke or Tim Geithner or Barack Obama for inheriting this, first of all, because it seems as if people judge you not according to what they don't see or what could have happened. They judge you according to what they do see. And right now, we still have double-digit unemployment. We're still in a recession. We still have a lot of folks out there who need jobs. They're near the foreclosure, so they're still feeling the pinch. So they're saying that, well, how is this really helping me? Well, you say, well, you know, we just saved ourselves from the destruction of the economy. But you know what? No, the recession still seems like it's going on right now. So I really don't envy him in this position.
But do you think he should be reappointed?
I do think he needs to be reappointed. But, you know, I kind of look at the Fed like that. You know, like that cousin that you really don't trust that comes over to your house at Christmas time. You know, before he leaves, you kind of want to pat his pockets down just to make sure, you know, make sure you didn't steal anything. So I think that we have to make sure to look at these assets that, I mean, this money that we've been spending to see, you know, we need ultimate full transparency to make sure we can try to pat his pockets down a little bit.
That's what Congress is doing. Also this week, call it 30 rocked. Comcast and General Electric announced that they have finally struck a deal giving Comcast, the country's biggest cable operator, control over NBC Universal and creating the largest entertainment company in the United States, if the deal is okayed by regulators. Now, the deal values NBC Universal at $30 billion. It's going to make Comcast a major player in television, movies, internet, and theme parks. NBC networks include NBC Network, Telemundo, USA, Bravo, Oxygen, MSNBC, and CNBC. What does this mean for the future of media and your money? Ryan, any effect?
I think it does. I mean, you know, consumers like, you know, they say this is what consumers want. I think consumers want diversification. They want to be able to go on the right and be able to see a little, maybe Bill O'Reilly. They want to go on the left and see Keith Olbermann. They want to come to see you that makes a good objective perspective of things. So they want all perspective. That's the beauty thing about media. This kind of looks as if it's going to be a lot of control, a lot of individuals trying to change channels and seeing pretty much the same, maybe hopefully not slanted viewpoint, and hopefully it won't be that slanted.
Although it's a theme we've been seeing for a long time. Media consolidation has been going on for a while.
Absolutely. I think this deal is a bigger deal for Comcast than it is for the consumer. I don't think the consumer is going to notice that much, but Comcast gets to be a content king now, which is something that they've wanted for a really long time. And it's not the NBC part that's so valuable to them, it's the cable business, because the broadcast television business is dependent on ad revenues, which are just really troubled right now. But cable, they get the revenues from carriage fees, and it's a different ballgame. And those cable channels that NBC owns are very, they're really on fire right now.
Right,
so.
and for those people in the country who don't pay a monthly cable bill to Comcast, they all of a sudden become a bigger player in your life.
Exactly.
But that's probably the case, that it's probably more transparent than not. Well, coming up next, did you know that 9 million U.S. households do not use a bank? We'll discuss why when we come back. Back with me, Ryan Mack and Lee Gallagher. According to an FDIC report released this week, an estimated 7.7% of U.S. households, that's about 9 million households, do not use a bank. Nearly 21 million households are what's known as underbanked. That means they use cash check cashing services, payday lenders, or pawnbrokers rather than a bank. And the problem is most acute among minorities, with an estimated 21.7% of black households and 19.3% of Hispanic households deciding against using a bank. Ryan, these numbers are staggering. I don't even understand it.
You know, it doesn't help that every time you turn on the television, you got Russell Simmons pushing this rush card, these prepaid debit cards, trying to get people to spend money just to use their own money. It doesn't help that you go on the internet, you see Magic Johnson pushing Rent-A-Center for those individuals who can't get lines of credit. Now they have to rent their own furniture. Forget owning homes and starting businesses. Now you got to rent your own furniture. So it really seems as if they're exploiting a lot of these individuals who don't have access, or at least are not aware, thinking that they're actually saving money by going to these check cashing places, spending between 1% and 4% of their check over their entire year, basically spending an additional check just to get their own money.
And Lee, it probably doesn't help that we've gone through a year where, you know, weekly you'll hear complaints about increased bank fees and what they're charging and those kinds of things. So you're not getting people feeling warm and fuzzy about banking.
And in fact, one of the things the study found is that the major reason why, even before this year, they have not done this is because they distrust the banks. So if these people distrusted the banks even 2 years ago, what could they possibly think now? And so, you know,
but
it's a real
this has got to be
problem.
bad for people.
It's bad for people for a few reasons, because they're not building credit history. They don't have insured deposits. When you keep your cash in your house, I mean, the FDIC insures bank deposits. That's a very big deal, and it's a real protective mechanism.
And so, the best thing about it is we need to strive for free. There is a way that you can use banks for free. You can have a debit card that you can use for free. If you need to establish credit history, if you're in the telechecks or check cashing systems and you've been bouncing too many checks, well, first of all, stop bouncing checks and contributing to the $40 billion that banks are earning because you keep bouncing checks and overdrafting.
Yeah, it's an important point. You need a little responsibility on that side.
You have to.
But you can do some searches on the internet about free banking.
Yeah, credit unions, second chance bank accounts. You might have not have access to checks or being able to overdraft, but you still can use second chance bank accounts. Credit unions that don't have to answer to shareholders, they can have great services available for individuals as well.
We do hear a lot of this. We've known that this is experienced in recent immigrant communities, partially because of experiences that they've had with banking in some Latin American countries, for instance, that there have been fears of whether the banking system is secure. So we sort of have two problems going on here. There has to be a logical fix to this.
Well, I mean, one of the suggestions is to encourage banks to bring these people into the fold by offering no-fee checking accounts, accounts without automatic overdraft protection that is one of the most egregious fee
and
charges.
This might happen a little more next year after some of these rules that the federal government is putting in about consumer banking. But at the moment, this is the year of windfall for banks.
Right, exactly. I mean, there is talk about using the Community Reinvestment Act, funds from that to sort of to start this, but that's also what led us to subprime mortgages.
No more putting money under your mattress. You know, it's time to use a bank and be responsible.
Yeah, that's a bad plan any way you look at it. Thank you to both of you. What a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you for joining me for Your Money. You can follow Christine and me on Facebook and Twitter at Christine Romans and at Ali Velshi. Join us every week for Your Money, Saturdays at 1 p.m. Eastern and Sundays at 3. You can also log on 24/7 to cnnmoney.com. Have a great weekend.